What does business communication for the new normal look like? In this video, I'm going to give you 4 tips for communicating in the new normal. Here we go. Tip number 1, listen more. Epictetus, Greek philosopher, is quoted as saying, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Research done at MIT found that trust is the foundation of cooperative and collaborative leadership. Trust is the foundation of your communicating in this new normal. And how can you build trust quickly? You can build trust by listening to your team members more. Listen twice as much as you speak. You'll build trust. You'll have greater influence with them as well. How do you communicate in the new normal? Number 2, ask clarifying questions. Clarifying questions are fantastic at any time, but they are of the utmost importance during this new normal. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of changing information every single day, and leaders are having to change their approach, change their strategies, their tactics every single day with the new information that they get. So we must ask clarifying questions. I had an experience a few days ago with a COO of an organization that I work with, and we had a training on the books. It was on my schedule. It wasn't canceled on my calendar. Everybody was still invited. And so I said, "Hey, are we doing the live training?" Because we had just recently done an Zoom training. And she said, no live training. But I wasn't satisfied with that. I thought, you know what? I don't think she's saying, I don't want to assume that she's saying we're going to do a virtual training. I need to go ahead and ask the clarifying question. I said, so are we going to do the virtual training, or are we canceling for the month of June? She said, no, we need to go ahead and cancel the month of June and revisit in the month of July. I'm glad I asked that clarifying question for a couple reasons. What if I had assumed that she just meant no training? And I didn't show up to our virtual meeting, and she and the whole team were there waiting in a virtual meeting to have our training. That would have been very frustrating for her and the team. It would have been frustrating for me if I had made an assumption that we were going to have training, and I keep that time slot in my calendar, and I prep and I get ready and I show up and I'm there, and there's nobody on the line. That brings frustration on my side. So how can we communicate for the new normal? Clarifying questions. Make sure you clearly understand. You might actually preface your question this way by saying, just to clarify, are we canceling training for this meeting, or are we moving to a virtual setting? It's that simple and that easy, and you'll get a very quick response, and you won't be making assumptions. Ask clarifying questions. Tip number 3 for business communication in the new normal is have a positive, adaptive tone. What do I mean by that? Hey, we have seen a ton of change during this time, right? Changes every single day. I just alluded to it. So we who are going to have greater influence, who are going to do well at communicating during this new normal and moving forward through this new world that we live in, right? We are going to have a positive, adaptive tone. Now, Darwin is credited as saying, "It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but it is the species that is most adaptable to change." The same is true in business. The businesses that adapt, that pivot, that change, the individuals that adapt and pivot and change in a positive way. What does that mean? Have an upbeat, positive tone in your communications. I can hear it in your communication when you're frustrated, when you're annoyed, when you're short with me, right? Just like you can hear that in my communications, in my texts, in my emails. So you need to go the extra mile to be positive in your communications. Hey, I understand that there's a lot of changing going on in the organization, and thank you for notifying me of the cancellation of our training. I appreciate it. You know, you've got to take the high road. You've got to have, in some circles, they might say this is having grace for each other. It's giving a little bit of space for mistakes to happen. They're going to happen, right? This is the same with your coworkers, with your counterparts. Maybe you're used to talking to them in the office and you can't do that anymore. You can't read their face. You can't see what's going on. And so we might have this assumption that they're in a bad mood when we're only communicating through email or texting. We want to make sure that we give grace to each other, that we allow for some frustrations to happen with all the change that's going on, and we be the ones. If you want to communicate well in your business communications in this new normal, you be the one that steps up and says, I am going to have a positive, adaptive tone in my writings, in my communications, in my voice when I'm on the phone, in my virtual meetings. And I'm going to be the one that stands out from the crowd in my communications. And that's how you're going to move ahead and do well in your business communications in this new normal. And number 4, for business communication in this new normal is you got to be sober. Now, I'm not talking about, all the stats saying that folks are drinking more wine and all that stuff. What I'm saying is there's no place for hyperbole during this time. Okay, there's no place for exaggeration and making things out to be bigger than they actually are. Let's be even keeled. Let's be sober. Let's be aware of what's going on and not freak out, for lack of a better term, right? Let's not freak others out. Let's not have hyperbole in our speech saying, oh, everything's bad or everything's good or this is the greatest opportunity or everything's tanking right now. There's enough of that on TV. There's enough of that with our politicians in this political season, with the media, all that kind of stuff. We don't need that in the business world. If you want to have effective business communications, people right now are looking to. They're looking for leaders. They're looking for peers. If you want to rise up out of the ranks of your peers, be sober. Don't use hyperbole. Be even keeled in your communications. Be a place of calm and consistency in your communications. And you are going to do so well in this new normal. You're going to stand out. You're going to have greater influence in your communications. And things are going to work out well for you. So those are my 4 tips. If you have any more tips that you could share with this group of people that are watching this video, share your tips in the comments below. I love to see them, and I'll see you on the next video.
If you found value from this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. To receive the free influence assessment, simply click on the link below that says Influence Assessment. If you have any questions or comments about influence, please comment below, and I will look forward to connecting with you. Always remember, increase your influence, realize your dream.